Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, folks. I have muted my two friends because of the fact that I forgot to do something important, and now we are back. Today it's Connor, Andrew, and I t- with a with a show. I was trying to think of something that would be like a triple something, and I couldn't get there. Anyways, the Habs lose 4-3 versus the Pittsburgh Penguins in overtime, or sorry, in shootout. Because if it happened in overtime, I think they would have been a different outcome considering what overtime looked like. But as per always, overtime does shootouts do shootout things, and the Habs walk out of this back to back with 3 out of 4 points. How are we feeling about this game, guys? Or how are we feeling today? Let's start with how is everybody doing?
I'm doing all right. I thought stealing a point out of that game is a victory,
Yeah.
honestly. How about you, Connor?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing well. It's almost that holiday time. Well, it is the holidays, but it really just feels like, the day is coming up soon, aka Christmas, which just guarantees days off of work. So yeah, I'm doing great with that. The game itself, yeah, that shootout was a lot of people in the comments are already talking about the shootout. But yeah, not so great of a shootout performance, I guess is what I'm saying. And yeah, I wish it was a different outcome, but hey, glad we got a point, as you both said.
Yeah, I think considering how the third period went, maybe I shouldn't complain so much about overtime not going their way. Because if things had gone the way third period seemed to be going. So at the end of the day, it's 3 points out of four. Um, it's hard for me to get worked up over like shootout losses, really. Um, we can I'm a little bit like we can talk a little bit about the choice to let Nick Suzuki go in the third after the fact that he hasn't scored a shootout goal in like 1,500 years approximately. How long Andrew's been alive. Sorry.
Oh God,
Sorry.
Wow.
Getting it started
right
early today,
away.
folks. Getting the we're catching strays early. Um, but yeah, so going into this game, I kind of had a feeling that it would be the Sidney Crosby special. Had, I was like, listen, if it didn't happen yesterday, it's going to happen today. It was always going to be versus the Montreal Canadiens. But, first period starts and they're the first ones to score the goal, and it's Kapanen. That second line today, I think, might have been their best line. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but you know what? Totally forgot to do my thing where I'll just let you guys know. Our first period, we'll talk about the game. Second period, I know we want to talk about that line. I feel like we talk about that line every single time we're on the show, but it's because it's such a fun, interesting line to talk about. And then in the third, we will actually talk Phil Deneau instead of me completely like derailing the conversation. We'll talk about the lineup, I guess, more than Phil Deneau. With Sammy Blay coming up, all of these things. So now to wind the clock back. Let me also do the thing where I'm supposed to say hi to everybody in the chat. So hello everybody. Love to see you guys in here. Just checking out the chat really quickly. Lots of our regulars. Love to see you guys. And just as a reminder, if you haven't clicked like yet, please be sure to do that. As early as you like the video, that does more for the algorithm. So if you guys could do that, we'd really appreciate that. Okay, back to the first goal. That's a Kapanen goal from Demidov and Slav, and I believe it was Arbor also did some work there. Great goal. What did you guys see on that goal?
I like that Arbor did the little chip at the point there to keep it in. Sometimes guys get in there and they just try to ram it through or do like a little poke, and he had the presence of mind to kind of just flip it over the Penguins player who was just right there in front and right to, I believe that was Demidov, right? Who had it
Yes.
up in the corner, and then he hit Slav in the middle and then back to Kapanen on the side of the net. That goal was wild. Like, just the beauty of it
hmm
was spectacular.
I think that's a chemistry goal, right, Connor? How were you feeling about that one?
Yeah, the European connection really does pay off right there. I mean, I'm watching like these guys, and like you have to remind yourself that like the two of these guys are sort of really in their rookie season. Demidov, obviously, but Kapanen, like he played what, like a handful of games for him last year, and then he was off. So it's you figure those two. Slav has had a long or tenure, but he also had to come up when he was like 19 because of all the injuries. It's really nice to see the confidence that they're all playing with.
hmm
Like I wouldn't go so far as to say that like Slav really is the one sort of like establishing that on that line, but he just plays with such a like bravado
Mm,
to him,
Yeah.
like a much like that he just like sort of establishes like no. There's like a bunch of like sequences tonight that the like I think it was because you would see it during the line changes from the first line to the second line, where the puck would come out of the offensive zone and Slav would just come out of nowhere and just like throw a guy away, pick up the puck and just bring it back into the offensive zone and just establish with his line, okay, now it's our turn to get the puck on the net and the puck's in deep. And I'm just watching that, and it just leads to the brilliance of Demidov, the crisp passing between the three of them, and the great play by Arbor as well. Like it's not crazy to say they were the best line out there tonight for the Canadians, truly.
yeah, I mean, that entire line walked out of this game with 2 points, right? Like, and points aren't everything, but I think today they reflected the reality of what that game looked like. So yeah, they have that somewhere along the way. They had so today the penalty kill, I think, was less of a strategic penalty kill and it felt like a lot of holding on. So I'm going out of order a little bit here, but the first PK I thought was a little bit this was before the goal. I think they did a good job. Kind of just all of my notes about the penalty kill have the literally say considering the personnel, considering who's on the team, considering injuries, right? Like this is a penalty kill trying very hard to say um trying to figure out. And then, it's tied 1-1. Uh, and then it's Sidney Crosby's time, right? Like it's 1-2. I believe that's where he tied Lemieux. Um, this was a bit of a disappointing first period, I think. They had 5 shots to 14 by the end of the period. Um, sorry, that was he passed Lemieux on that. Just want to clear that up. He tied him in the tying goal. And I think the
Yep.
second goal is where he passed Lemieux up. But yeah, I know it's the second half of back to back. I know like it's with travel, but that second team is also traveling and also on the second half of a back to back. And frankly, they're old. Like they're
Yep.
Hmm.
like just honestly, most teams are compared to the Montreal Canadiens. I was just a little bit disappointed by the energy of that first period, especially after the way that their entire game went yesterday. I just thought that energy, intensity, purposeful playing was lacking a little bit.
Yeah. I what I said during the game was they played like they carried over the 4-0 lead from the game before. And it kind of seemed like they just felt like they could sit on it for
hmm
most of the game. And like credit to the Penguins, they were also like much more engaged today.
hmm
But a lot of it felt like the Canadians were not engaged more than the Penguins were outplaying them. We've seen already twice this season what these teams look like against each other, and this was like a big change.
Yeah.
And last night, what I noticed was like the Canadians had sticks in lanes all
hmm
night. Like the,
hmm
the Penguins couldn't get a clean pass through. Even when they were getting shots, it was like a slightly deflected shot or like somebody was in the way. Tonight, especially through the first 40, the Canadians were not getting in front of pucks. They weren't getting in passing lanes. They were
hmm
like just missing and they were just a step too slow. And
Yeah.
yeah, as the younger team, that kind of sucks to not have the energy as it goes on. But as soon as Crosby scored that goal, you knew the Penguins were going to care about this game a whole heck of a lot more because they don't want to lose it
Yeah.
when he breaks that record. But at the same time, they almost did in overtime, and the only
Yeah.
reason they didn't is blind luck and officiating,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
sure we will touch on with some of the nonsense that happened in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the third period for sure. Second period, I noticed Josh Anderson a bit in this game. And not just because he's handsome, but because he threw some big hits, and you love to see that. I feel like the Pens were getting a little spicy today, especially around the net. There were a few times that I thought Jakob Dobeš might throw a blocker or two. They were taking some liberties. I liked some of the responses to that, but hey. And then in the end, it's the tying goal 2-2 is Demidov. Uh, Demidov did great. That was a beautiful shot. So fast, so decisive. That felt like a goal that he knew what his plan was and he was going to execute it. And I loved that. But I think the thing I loved most on that play is Juraj Slafkovsky in his play. He brought that puck into the zone, passed to Kapanen. Kapanen shoots quickly, which this line should do more of. So he shoots, misses, Slav retrieves the puck, and then he makes a beautiful pass onto Demidov, and Demidov shoots, no hesitation. Absolutely, he knew what he was going to do, and he did it. So that was a beautiful goal. Once again, that's the second time this entire line gets points. And guess what they did to get those points? They shot. What was kind of your reaction to that goal, both of you? Connor, we can start with you.
Just relief. Like we pointed out before, like in the first period, which is because like the first period, like Andrew touched upon it. But as soon as like Crosby scored, or as soon as the goal went in for Crosby, and like he ties Lemieux, we're all going, "Oh, great!" like terrific! Like celebrate for him. Like it's an incredible milestone. I don't know how many people, when Lemieux was retiring, were saying to themselves, "Oh yeah, that's going to be a point that's gonna."
Yeah.
Like Sid the kid is going to be, we're a bit late able to see so far into the future that he's going to break that. But it was just a moment of like, if you look at the really really big start to the game, the Canadians came out really strong. Like they
Yeah.
actually had a really really good, like maybe first like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
but
I would
after
agree with
that
that.
it was just like it just went the other way. As soon as the goal was scored and everybody realized who scored it, and then following that up with the other point to pass him, and you catch the dad in the stand, and he's got just like these like $100 gold chains coming off of his wrist as he's like going up and he's crying, but
Yeah.
he's just still trying to look like typical hockey dad who's like in their 60s. Yeah, you could tell it was going to go the other way a little bit, and that it was momentum that you had to latch on to. Like it is tiring to have to deal with like the momentum swinging, and the momentum swinging not because of like a goal that you gave up relatively quickly to the first goal you scored, but
Yeah.
because like everybody knows the context of the goal, and you just have to deal with like last game they did not allow Crosby to get a point, and
Hmm.
I remember I was talking to a buddy of mine today, and he said, well, maybe it's because Crosby waited to get back home so he could score the tying and then the winning or the surpassing goal point as well in the all-time leader category. And I was like, yeah, that could be the case. And it's going to be hard for Canadian because you still have to keep that on your mind, like
Yeah.
going into the second game as well,
That's
and
a
being
great
like,
point.
look, there's
Yeah.
a good chance history's broken. And it's just,
And we're in
it
the
can be
highlight
fatiguing as well.
packages. We're in the highlight packages, and
Yeah.
it
Like
always
I think
feels
I
like we
was
end up,
Habs Reddit.
yeah, we always end up being in those highlight packages for some reason. No, that's a great point,
That's it,
Connor.
Habs Reddit.
I didn't think of the fact that
Hmm.
like that could have been a mental hurdle for them. Andrew, what was your reaction to that goal?
I liked it. I think that I'm just impressed with how much that line is finding themselves.
Hmm.
Like you could see right away when they were put together that there's something there, and you could especially see it with Slavkovsky. He's just taken a
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts how good he looks out there every single game right now. Even like in overtime when he was chasing down Ricard Raquel, and Raquel had the puck, and he just at the
Simply
end
was
of his reach,
stronger.
he looked like Slavkovsky had no leverage whatsoever, and just one-handed, he's like, "You go away. I'm taking the puck now to get a breakaway."
There were a few
And I
of
was
those
like,
moments this game as well.
"He's nuts.
Yeah.
He's so good." And that line is they're starting to figure out what they need to do to be successful at 5-on-5, and part of it is just being decisive in shooting. They're a
Hmm.
little bit too hesitant, and I think that applies to like a lot of Habs tonight,
Hmm.
especially the top line actually was a little bit too hesitant outside of Caulfield, who tried super hard, but the puck did not want to do anything that he wanted it to do until the shootout. And those nights happen,
Yeah.
but that line, so many of their defensive problems stem from turnovers in the offensive zone where they're overpassing. So when they can get to the confidence level where they're shooting when they should shoot, I think a lot of the defensive issues will start to work themselves out as well. Because with two rookies on a line, like Slavkovsky's a good defensive player, but his biggest problem in the defensive zone is sometimes he's a little bit too casual trying to clear the zone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also a thing that happens with rookies. So it's like a lot of running around and failed clears when they get stuck in their own zone. So just don't get stuck in there as much. Don't let them take the puck away.
I
Start
would simply
putting the
not
puck
put
on net,
myself in that
applying some
position.
pressure.
I would not put
Exactly.
myself
It's
in a
like
position to defend.
Lane Hudson, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, when he was breaking into the NHL, was saying like, "Oh, he's too small to defend in front of the net." Okay, fine. So he'll just get the puck before that's necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and he does it pretty much all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not sure if you remember yesterday, but he's so capable of roughing. He's so capable of knocking down guys. He's very, very strong, and guys get scared of him. So it is what it is.
I mean, he hit somebody tonight too. He laid a really big hit in the
Mm-hmm.
Penguin zone
I think
on.
it was versus
I think it was
who's it
McGroarty,
that
wasn't it?
took out no, it was versus the guy who took out Evans too.
Oh, you're right.
Brazeau,
It was Brazeau. Yeah, and he
yes.
wrecked him too.
Yeah.
Like it looked like
Got
a
him.
big hit, and Brazeau was hurt.
Got his ass.
He did get his ass.
Never like to see a guy hurt, but hey, it's always good to see a guy get stronger. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And then
And
there's
Jean-Paul Quenville, sorry, in
yeah,
the chat
absolutely.
just raises a good point. Like, I think part of the reason why none of us are in like a bad mood right now is they got a road point on a night when they did not have their fastball.
Yeah.
Like that's good. We want to see them be more consistent in game to game,
hmm
but overall, scraping a point out tonight's not bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like I genuinely think maybe throughout periods of this game they earned that point. So I'm not like, oh, they didn't deserve it at all. But there were definitely times they were letting, a bit of a they had a loose grip on that point, right? Um So yeah, after that, we have a bit of a melee in front of the net, which we seem to have a lot of this period. But it's just want to touch on it really quickly because it made me laugh. Josh Anderson fully threw a punch at a pen. Like absolutely like between it was one of those moments where like the ref was there and it's like nobody's like people are like pawing at each other like mad cats. But I think Josh Anderson got a little bit harder than a paw, like perhaps a BAP rather than a simple swipe. And at first I was like, Josh, what are we doing? Why are we so mad about this? And then I saw the replay and I was like, oh, there's like 3 pens coming at him. I'd probably throw a
Yep.
punch too at that point. Like I think there's been some discipline issues with Josh Anderson this season so far. There's been a few times where maybe discipline issue isn't the right thing, but more of a self-control issue where he will have something happen to him that should be a penalty, and instead of letting it like letting just doing his job after it's not called, there's been a few times where I've been like, Josh, you really needed to stay engaged in that play instead of stopping to bitch at the ref, right? But it's understandable too. The refs do seem to have a hard time calling stuff on him sometimes. So I was just glad that was a note that I had in terms of I thought Josh Anderson was noticeable tonight. So yeah, here
Want
it
a fun
was
Josh Anderson penalty fact?
what?
Would love one. Yes.
Absolutely.
What percentage of Josh Anderson's drawn calls this year, or actually, sorry, of his calls that he's taken are coincidental minors? So there's no penalty kill out of it.
Percentage?
17%?
Percentage.
17%.
It's 50%.
I was actually gonna guess. I
50%.
was
Oh,
gonna
really?
guess 50. Yeah, I mean
So
that makes
he's
sense.
very good at taking somebody with him when he has his little temper tantrums. So
Yeah.
there's that at least.
There's that, yeah. Like there's some times where I'm like, come on, but like also there's times where like he just seems to be good at drawing guys in. Um Actually, I don't want to go out of order, but something that Jean-Paul is reminding me in the chat is it was very funny that it was I can't remember who it was that took the face off. It wasn't Nick Suzuki. He got tossed, as Jean-Paul points out, and they just won it anyway. So that was funny. But to go back, halfway through that period, essentially, the shots were 15-6, which meant that the Pens hadn't had a shot that entire period. I remember that period feeling a lot worse than that, but like at least in the first half of it, they seemed to be fine. Um, and then that ref gets hurt, and I'm immediately like, oh, it's Brendan Gallagher's at the scene of the crime. Of course he is. Fork found in kitchen.
And it wasn't his
And it
fault.
wasn't
That's the
even
crazy.
his fault.
He was trying to help. It was the penguin who killed him.
Um, and then next thing I've written is by the end of the period, we're at 16 shots to 28. So something changed along the way. And what did you see out of
Yeah,
that
the
second
Penguins
period?
had
Any notes there?
there was the midpoint of the second period, the Penguins just took off,
Yeah.
and then they scored to tie it up, and it didn't stop. It was just the Canadians they weren't playing that well. Like at the end of the day, like the Penguins were playing pretty decently, but the Canadians were just not in it tonight, and
Yeah.
they scraped out of it based on like their skill level and getting a couple of fortunate bounces, I guess you could say. But like Dobesh had to make some big saves, but
Mm-hmm.
also he was crazy to watch tonight. And I
Tonight
think
was
Yes.
a
extra
back-to-back,
chaotic. Extra
yeah, I
chaotic.
think a
Jesus.
back-to-back against the exact same opponent really shows the difference between Fowler and like the calm, composed technical goalie versus like the more erratic, reactive goalie. And it's
I thought it
like
was
I like
worse
Dobesh.
today too. Yeah.
I enjoy watching Jakob Dobesh, but after just watching Fowler last night against the same team, I'm like, this is so much more stressful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so much stress all the time.
Yeah, like there's the third goal that he gave up was one that I think a lot of people were like frustrated with. I was as well. It didn't feel like a goal that he should have given up. The shootout one though was pretty bad. Like he just bit immediately and
He just
just
committed
like
hard.
he committed way too hard, way too fast. Like, 'tis the season. We all watch those Hallmark movies and we commit way too hard, way too fast. Like, we fall in love with the woman that we haven't seen since high school and has had a kid, and it's and because it was meant to be all along. But no, yeah, Jakub Dobas just committed way too hard, way too quickly. Like, it was just like enough point where I think anybody who's played enough hockey was just like, okay, I'm gonna go around you now because
Yeah.
you were 20 feet out of your net, and then I am going to slide this past you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he sort of like I don't want to like knock on him because he also faced over 30
He did.
shots
He did.
and had a
He had
plus
some big saves.
900
Yeah.
save percentage and some big saves as well. So like yeah, all around it was, as we pointed out, one that they scraped by, got the point, and should be sort of relieved that they got the point on a back-to-back with a team that they've played like 3 times in the past 10 days or something like that. It's just
Crazy.
familiarity breeds contempt. Like
Yeah.
it's
I was
truly
expecting it
that,
to
I
get
think.
worse. I was honestly expecting to get worse. I think out of
Mhm.
all 3 games that they played against the Pens in the last, what, 2.5 days, I think that was maybe their worst. Yeah, so they walk out of that period down 3-2. Um, a second period was had. I feel like as far as Habs second periods go, not too bad. Not great though. But in the third period, we got a goal by Noah Dobson. And saw a question here. Habs fan and NJ earlier had asked, here's the big question. Should the Pens have challenged that third Habs goal? To me, Beck was pushed into the crease, so I think it's a good non-challenge. I think that is is that a risk you can take? I think there was a chance that it might have been called back, and I think there was also a chance that that's a power play that they give the Habs. I think ultimately they made the right choice because it was tied and it wasn't like they didn't go up kind of thing. What were your thoughts on that third goal? Connor, we can start with you.
Yeah, like I had the first thought as well. I was like I was sort of like half paying attention to it, so all I saw was just like Silov's like hands in the air and just like laying down on like looking like a kid who was asking for uppies. He was just like, "What's going on? I don't understand." Like immediately, like you look at that, you're like, "Oh, this could be goaltender interference." I was a little surprised that they didn't challenge. I think because they didn't want to test the Habs power play,
Hmm.
which did have like some bright moments and then other moments where they just like the Penguins just got the sticks in passing lanes and it was
Yeah.
just truly that. Um, but I would have was sort of interested to see them challenge it just to see like what could have happened. Like it's one thing for the refs on the ice to have a lot of calls this game where it kind of felt like we're gonna let them play at times, and then we're not gonna really go like over calling is what I felt it was, which is we're gonna get to the non-call as well,
Yep.
or the incidental contact call as well. But if you go to the situation room, like what are they gonna say, and does that also change the vibe of the calling on the ice as well, and like the way that the game will be called? So I don't know. I kind of felt like why don't you challenge it? But that's also me biased towards the Habs to say like if it goes in our favor, it goes in our favor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have liked to have seen them
A lot of
maybe.
variables, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought for sure that they were going to challenge just because I don't know, the Penguins coaching staff just something about them. I look at them and they just strike me as like that kid in elementary school who almost looks like they're always on the verge of tears. And you like say one thing and they just start to like cry fight you and you're like, calm down. Like, what's going on at home?
Jesus,
That's
Andrew.
how I feel about the Pittsburgh Penguins coaching staff. Maybe I'm just like still bitter over them calling back Owen Beck's first career goal because I
Yeah,
still think
that
that's
was
BS.
crazy.
But if they had reviewed that, I mean, I don't want to say that I believe in anything the NHL would do, but I can't see them calling that one back because Beck did legitimately try to get out of the
He
way
was trying,
and he
yeah.
was very clearly pushed in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, considering there was that goaltender interference call on Montembeault earlier in the year where he was clearly knocked down, and then they were like, well, he had enough time to
Yeah,
recover.
Mhm.
And it was
that
like
was
1.5
crazy.
seconds.
That was
And
crazy.
it was very crazy. So, like, there was about the same amount of time in this one, too. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would have found a way to call it back. So, it was probably the right call from the
Mm-hmm.
Penguins. And they ended up with the win at the end of the day, too. So,
Yeah. Um, so then they have that power play, and that was one of their better power plays, I think, of this game. And two sticks break. Yet another broken stick for the Montreal Canadiens. I think it was one of them was Cole Caulfield with the beauty of a chance, and then slapstick explodes. So I don't know what's happening there, but we need to start like at this point we got to make notes of it so at the end of the season we can do like a compilation. Like I wish I'd been. Wait, I do keep notes. I do keep notes. I forgot. I was like, "Oh,
we
I should have
do.
kept a note of it." No, I do keep notes. Um, yeah, there was Pens were trying to get tough behind the net. I'm not sure if you noticed this sequence, but it was that guy who sounds like
McGroarty,
he has a fake.
Rutger McGroarty.
Yes, him. There was a
Sounds like a frog.
it's very funny. It's a very funny name. It's
A
like Lenny.
Scottish frog. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he goes after Slav, and Slav just like fully like just like pushes him down, like, and it wasn't like you could tell it was one of those. It was not one of those things where he was diving. Like it was literally just Slav like was like, don't even try this. And I think that's another moment I was like, yeah, Slav, remember you're big. You're big.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's times Slav gets caught and he gets knocked down, but when he's ready for the contact, there's not many people in this league who can overpower him.
yeah, yeah. I think he's a very, very strong kid. There's a penalty kill, because Bolduc got cross-checked in the back. Nobody said anything, and then something else was called, like maybe 4 seconds later. Fucking whatever. That's not even the call I can get worked up over. There's one call in this game that I can genuinely get really worked up over, and the others I'm just like, that's just fucking, that's the way NHL refs work. And that call is the Joe Veleno call.
Should
Most
we
of this
switch to the
game.
second period for that one, Kay?
Sure, sure. We'll talk
Yeah.
about the second period. But before we do, I am going to send us over to our lovely sponsors at Inchubichu, and we will be right back. Oh, will we be right back? Oh, no, I don't think we'll be
Maybe.
right back. We will be right
Famous
back.
chateau at 4000 Rue Saint Ambroise lies one of Montreal's coolest secrets, a glamorous Gothic jewelry store owned and run by women. Inchu Bijou isn't just a business. They've built a community that supports bold creativity and expression. When I was first introduced to founder Astrid Episegomian's shop, I was floored by the detail, vision, and scale of what she's built from her own mind. I don't think anyone would call me goth, but I know an innovator when I see one. Along with building their own business, Inchubiju also hosts markets for vendors in their space called Marché Maleficarum, boosting their whole community. If you don't live in Montreal, explore inchubiju.com, where you'll find over 800 designs that range from affordable to bespoke. Check out Inchubiju right now, a Game Over partner from the beginning.
You guys caught me right as I was screaming. I should have yelled earlier. So we are back after sending you guys over to our lovely sponsors. Once again, want to say thank you to everybody in chat. I know talking after the losses aren't always fun, but we try to have fun over here. So thank you for stopping by. And right now we are going to take some time just to get mad about, and I'm going to give us one moment to, or I'm going to give us one play to get mad about, because I genuinely think the reffing wasn't too bad this game. It was just that one, and that one is the incidental contact with Joe Veleno. That is such an insane non-call. Yeah. Oh, just a second, Andrew.
Am I muted?
Yes, you are, and it's my fault. Andrew's
Okay.
back. Sorry.
Should we start over?
Yes, yes. So
Okay,
how did you
so
feel about that call? Non-call.
okay, in my opinion, Craig Button owes us, as hockey fans in general, a public apology for calling that incidental contact.
Yeah.
That was the most ludicrous and stupid color commentary I've seen in a very long time. And I generally actually enjoy Craig Button
I
because
do as well.
he's a Nick Suzuki respecter, and
Yeah.
I find he talks a little bit too much, but whatever.
Who amongst
There's a lot
us?
worse in terms of
Who amongst us,
in terms of
yes.
color commentary out there. Like, he's not Gary Galley. He's
Yeah.
like actually knowledgeable and puts in effort to like know about players and like scout players. Like, he does actually put in effort, but that was brutal. And I would say that's like, that was such a bad initial call, and then to double down on it twice during the broadcast when you have replay available, that's like full on gaslighting at that point. Like, get out of here, man. Like, incidental contact, my ass. The dude watches Veleno the whole time, sees there's no puck, and raises the shoulder and leaves his feet on contact. Like, the dude shouldered him right in the head.
Yeah.
Veleno left for concussion protocol, incidental contact. Like, don't piss on my shoes and tell me it's raining, man. Like, I'm not stupid, and I think this is one of my biggest like pet peeves, not just in like hockey media or whatever. It's like the internet in general. It seems like there's this need to pretend that we're all dumber than we are, to like purposely misunderstand and misinterpret. And it's like, can we just not do that crap? Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And that was a headshot.
Yeah.
It was an interference at the very least, a headshot at the most. I'm not saying the guy needs to be suspended for 30 games or something, but not calling that was insane.
Yeah. I think that's not egregious enough to like, especially according to the standards of this league. That wouldn't have gotten a suspension either way, but I would have loved a penalty because Joe Veleno did have to leave the bench. I know, Connor, you had some things to say about this hit, including mad. I mean, that's what I have to say, mad. Connor, do you have anything more to say?
Yeah, I'm mad. I'm pissed off. No, I wouldn't say that for, but I'm definitely like angered a bit by it, because the other thing besides incidental contact was, he was like, the argument that Craig Button was making was two guys are fighting for a spot. No, one guy is trying to position himself in front of the net. The other guy is lowering his shoulder and leaving his feet, as Andrew has pointed out, to ensure that this guy does not get to at the front of the net. That is not just interference in hockey. That is interference in football, in rugby, in soccer, in basketball, like in darts. I don't know. In billiards, in curling. I don't know, but it is. It was truly just like, it is interference. It was not. It's infuriating. I think it was infuriating just to say, like, I don't know if it was just a moment where Craig Button just wanted to be like, I don't like. It's one of those things where it's like, it's an argument where you're like, the whole point of this argument is for me to just like tell myself I'm right more than anything else. Where you're just like, you're gaslighting yourself to be like, no, it was totally incidental contact. No, they were just good old fashioned two guys going towards the spot of the front of the net. It's hot in here. It's getting hot in here. I mean, like it was just truly that situation for Craig Button a little bit. I was just like, let it go. It truly was like I know I'm biased as a Habs fan, but I was definitely like, no, I'm screaming at my TV at 9:30 p.m. Like it's interference. It looked like interference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we're all biased, but we're saying that out of the gate,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that Craig Button is biased against the Habs either. We've already said he's a Suzuki respecter, right? He's
Yeah.
a Lane Hudson lover. But that was a horrible call. And you're right, Connor, that a lot of it is like I said something, I better defend myself. But can we just normalize admitting when we're wrong?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's okay
I'm
to be
wrong
wrong
all the
and say like I
time.
missed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
And I think, I don't understand why people just really, and I feel like it's a it's a matter of, and it's not even actually, I was gonna say, it seems like a lot of commentators just don't want to go against the refs, but Craig Button has very loudly, very funnily
Mhm.
gone after the refs. I'm not sure if you guys saw,
Yeah.
I put together this compilation after the Oilers game where they the one where the Oilers came back, quote unquote, at the very end of the game after like 15,000 fake penalties called on the Habs. And he was incandescently mad. He was so mad, and it's one of my funniest compilations I've ever made, just because I thought it's so funny. Also, by the way, Craig Button had a banger of a moment earlier this game where he was talking about Yuri Slafkovsky. He's also turning into a Yuri Slafkovsky respecter. Love to see it. But one of the things he said, and he got so mad about it too, he's like, people keep saying that him in the second line is a demotion. It is not a demotion. And I was like, you get him, Craig. You get their ass. So we're gonna talk about that second line and the quote unquote domation for domation. Demotion. Dem-
I feel like you got stuck like you're thinking they donated Slav to the second line.
And I mean, listen, it seems to have done something for that second line. Andrew, you were talking about you've noticed some change in that second line. Um, what are you seeing there?
I'm seeing like a bit more like opportunism. Like
Mm,
the Demidov goal tonight, especially, I thought was really great because they set up Kapanen for the shot, didn't work, but Slav just gets the puck back because he's a beast. And there was zero hesitation. Both of their goals tonight, actually, there was zero hesitation from any of them. It was just like bang, bang, bang in the back of the net. Everybody knows where they're going to be. That chemistry is starting to build. And if they can just keep some of that killer instinct, it doesn't have to be every single night. Nobody can be on every single night. Although, geez, Slav is trying to prove me wrong on that
yeah,
one this season.
yeah.
But
The entire line
like you're
isn't
never gonna
always
have a
on, every
line
single
consistently.
line, but Slav seems to be on. Yeah.
It seems that way this year for sure. Him and like Hudson's had very few off nights this year. Not that he
Hmm.
had many last year either, but those two guys I feel like have been exemplary of work ethic matters just as much as skill. Like
Yeah.
Lane Hudson is so sickeningly skilled, and Slavkovsky is skilled in a very different way, but super skilled.
Gifted.
But
He's
when they're
gifted.
also very gifted, but when they're busting their butts on top of that, it just makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what you get when you have a really young team where everybody is also just really hungry as well. Like you can tell, like they want to eat up the resources that they have around them. They're in a great hockey city. Like they're not in a city where it's they have to stick together a lot because it's also like they're gonna go outside together and be recognized almost instantly by so
Yeah.
many people. Like they just have to be tight knit, and when you're tight knit, you really do grow together. Like I think a cool example of this outside of the Canadians is I think too like the dynamic between like Mary Philip Poulin and Laura Stacey. Like their of course are married and have this beautiful relationship, but you can tell how much like you see them after practice working on one-timers together because it's utilized so much on the power play. You see them like coming out of the corners together and trying to see the different angles in which each other is working with. And then when you look at the Habs in Brossard in practice, it's a lot of the same things. It's seeing how it's like I remember last season when Demidov like joined the team at the end, there was like that clip that came out where it was just him and Lane Hudson just talking about stick handling. And it
Yeah.
was just them talking to each other and just spending time to each other. And I think the more that you work together and you see everybody is just trying to like work hard and hard and hard, and that hunger for the skill and the work ethic, as Andrew pointed out, are leading to the growth that we're seeing and that consistency as well that's also coming out to play. Like there's going to be nights where not everybody's on their strongest game, but having players that you can turn to, that's what depth is as well. Is just having that one player who will set the tone or come out on a line and get a point or get a goal that you need them to score just to help you in that moment to get that momentum back. And I think when you
100%.
look at players like Lane Hudson and Slavkovsky, they're still so young and making that impact so that they can like really get to a point where it's consistency or it's just reliability at the end of the day.
You forget how young Slav is, I think. Like
Yeah.
we've like by the time we saw him in his first NHL game, I swear he barely had his braces off. Like he was a kid.
He couldn't grow facial hair.
He couldn't,
He
I
had like a
mean,
caterpillar mustache peach fuzz thing going on. To now you see him and it's like shadowy, but it's connected.
he's doing something. I wish he'd do something better, but he's doing something.
He's a boy. He's got to go through it.
He's in that scraggly
I forgot he had.
phase.
I
Yeah.
forgot that he had braces at the last Olympics,
He had braces at
Yeah.
the last
Mhm.
Olympic.
and he's going to be at the Olympics again this year, and probably be Slovakia's like most important player. Like
Yeah.
I know he was last year too, but he's that good. Like he is a game-breaking player right now. It's
I think that's the
wild to
thing.
think of when you saw him in the first season where everyone was like, "Oh crap, is this a bust?" No, actually, the
Yeah.
Canadians seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Yaroslav Slavkovsky. He's never going to, if you rank first overall picks in the last, 4 decades or whatever, I don't know why I chose that number, but if you rank them, he's never going to be near the top of that list. He simply isn't. But fact of the matter is, he's got that dog in him, you know? Like he really, really does. And I think he's always to some extent had that dog in him. Now he's starting to know how to utilize that. Um, I think Yuri Slafkovsky's just it's really cool to see what he's been doing. Again, I know as like Habs fans, we're like really biased and like we want to hype up our own guys and like there's been a few times where I've talked to somebody else from outside our fan base and they won't necessarily get it. And I'm like, first of all, sometimes especially at the beginning of the season, I became a watch the games person because like a lot of times where people would say they didn't get what was like changing with Slav, it was the points weren't there. But it's really, man, I love our little baby boy who really isn't that little or a baby right now, Like it's just you love to see that. Any last thoughts on that line pairing? Other than that, I'm really excited to see them with somebody who's and I love Kapanen, but someone who's like a true legit number 2 center. I would love to see that. I'm just happy right now they seem to have some great chemistry. And Kapanen, what a story, man. He's like eligible for the Calder kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's going to win it. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, as in, like, technically, he qualifies for being part of that award. And right now, he's doing what he's doing. And that's really sick to see. I never expected this out of Oliver Kapanen.
No, he's
Yeah.
been great. He knows how to shoot the puck and like keep the stick on the ice, like all the most basic stuff they teach
It's
you in like
very
Adam A.
Finnish of him. He's a Finnish guy, right? Like he just
Very
goes
much.
for it. It's like a little bit of like the Lecky, and again, I'm not comparing the players. I'm just more of like the attitude of like, well, I'll do what I need to, right? Like I'll go for the net. I'll take the cross checks. I'll get guys being pissy at me, and I'm just going to sit there on the bench with a blank look on my face, but I'm gonna be there, guys. Like it's just very funny to me. I really enjoy that kind of player. I think that's why I have a soft spot for like guys like Jake Evans and stuff like that. And
100%.
speaking of Jake Evans and guys like that, we'll be talking a little bit more about the composition of this roster. Because we've had some IR moves today, or one IR move today, and of course, the acquisition of Phil Deneau. Yeah, so we are going to talk about our what this team's going to maybe look like for the next little while. But before we do, I am going to send us over to our sponsors, over at our partners and our sponsors over at Les Saint Motel, which is, as Wagley Stats always likes to say, ball pit time. So we will be right back.
While you're browsing Inchu Bijou's goth shop, head next door and discover Montreal's most unique selfie studio. Whether you're looking to take some banger pics of your Halloween costume or cosplay, or you want to make some memories with friends, Le Saint Motel has you covered. Experience their bombastic decors that are always changing, hop in the ball pit, and take advantage of their extensive and flexible on-site lighting. Head to lesaintmotel.com to book your time in the studio, book private time where you and your friends will be the only ones allowed in, or book the space for an event. The dedicated, caring staff will make sure that you have a good time. I do have one warning for you before you book. If you have kids, they won't want to leave. Whether you're at Le Saint Motel or Inchu Bijou, tell them Game Over sent you.
Okay, folks, we are back for our third period. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today. We always love having you guys. I'm going to be annoying and remind you guys again, in case you haven't liked the stream, please be sure to do that. We are all slaves to the YouTube algorithm, which seems to love just being mysterious for no reason.
Oh, rage bait, just like every other algorithm.
We need
It's
to
the thing
start
that we
doing
don't
rage
do.
bait. We need to start doing that so much more, Andrew. Like we need to, and like the thumbnails, the stupid thumbnails, we need to be doing a little bit more of that, I think. Who needs
Just
pride?
have like a thumbnail of that hit on Veleno and be like, Veleno asking for it, question mark? Just like it's always the stupidest crap. Like even like organizations that I like Midas Touch, I think is what they're called, the one in the States that are more on like the lefty side and reporting stuff on Trump. And like all of their thumbnails are like stupid thing with 15 exclamation points. It's like how does this work?
Unfortunately, it's
Why
just a
do
game
people
you have to
click this
play,
crap?
man, and it sucks. It
It's so
truly
dumb.
sucks. I feel like a clown dancing for my overlords. I'm like, so we have this video in case you guys haven't checked it out, by the way. It's a little late to see it, but I think we have fun because we're haters. But Zach Payne from Game Over Toronto and I did a little segment on a preview for the Atlantic Division, a hater's guide. So it's no longer a preview, but we are haters, and I think sometimes watching haters hate, it's a lot of fun. So be sure to check that out. I did some clickbait work on our thumbnail at least, and I gave Zach a heads up, and he was like, "Let's go!" Like, who cares? So yes, to talk about the real topic at hand. Jake Evans is placed on IR. I'm not taking that as a sign of anything, to be honest, just because this team is so the cap situation, especially with Dano now being on this team, is so tight that I think IR is just a thing they're utilizing right now. Um, I also saw people, by the way, ask why it's Caden Gooley and Kirby Doc, I think, were the ones who were put on IR instead of like Line A and Newhook. I think the reason why they did that is because and Gooley will be coming back earlier than those guys, so it'll be a little bit. It just makes more sense. But I think no, as Weekly Stats asks, if I'm not, I might be wrong, but I do think it's IR, not LTIR. Um,
Doc and Gulli are both currently on LTIR. They
yes,
just moved them there after
Dano trade.
the Dano acquisition.
Yes, yes,
It's a cap maneuvering, right?
yes, correct. But Jake Evans is on IR. Um,
Yes.
that hit looked bad, man. I saw some replays
Did.
today. Uh, it looks like it could be bad. I hope it's not because we do, as excited as I am for Phil Dano, Jake Evans has a very special role on this team, and I'm scared, but hey, for right now, Sammy Blaze called up. He plays. We've seen a little bit of Sammy Blay, whatever. Uh, that's all I got. Whatever. Uh, Connor, what are
You got a
you?
point tonight.
He did. Good for him.
Mhm.
Good for him. Good for her.
Okay, it's like I'm done with this. Next topic.
No, we'll talk about it because we have to talk about what the composition of this roster may look like going forward. Now, keep in
Yeah.
mind, the Christmas break holiday breaks are coming up, so because of that, they'll have a little bit more time. But kind of, what are you seeing for the immediate future of this team, Connor, roster wise?
that Sam Blaze not going to be here too long. I think that's what I don't remember. Okay, I think it was Andrew who said that before the stream. We were like, oh yeah, Sam Blaze called up. Won't be here long. Like
Nope.
it truly, like I don't know who's going to be coming back, when people are coming back, how Jake Evans feels. I don't know any of that. All I'm happy about with the Deneau situation is that the Pizza Boys are back. I don't
Yes.
know if you guys, yeah, Pizza Boy, like somebody like sent me that today, like where it's the press conference with Phil Deneau's giving. There's something so wholesome as someone who grew up in Montreal about a Quebecois friend of yours giving you pizza or food of any kind. Where it's like where you just have somebody going, "There you go, pal." Like it's just so like you like it's like a warm hug. It's so nice that yeah. Anyways, that was something I saw today that warmed my heart. Yeah, I don't know about the roster makeup, the roster situation, what that's going to look like. The IR thing is math that I can't do to figure out cap space and everything. Um, I'm just happy to see Dano here to help out for the time being. I pointed out last night in the stream that I think he's just another veteran voice as well that is needed with such a young team,
Hmm.
and that's going to do them some help as well. Yeah, like hopefully people come back soon enough. Christmas is going to be a time for rest as well. It's not like Evans is going to be pushed to come back
Hmm.
because like it's a stretch down late in the season or anything like that. It's truly just like take a couple days off, spend time with your family. We'll see how everything goes Boxing Day. But I think more attention is going to be on Michael Hage, the World Juniors for Habs fans than it is just going to be for a lot of, whether or not, well, I mean, people are going to be paying attention, obviously, if Evans comes back healthy and when he comes back. But I think Michael Hage is going to get a lot of cool attention for all the people who can't
So
watch him when he
exciting.
plays at Michigan.
So
100%.
exciting. I'm really excited for him.
I'm with you also, Connor, on like there's something about Phil Deneau that just gives me the warm fuzzies. Like even
Yeah.
like outside of just like the game on the ice, where he will bring improvements.
Hmm.
Like things that I think Canadians fans are going to notice right away with Phil Deneau coming on the team is face-offs. You're
Yeah.
going to win more face-offs, especially on the PK. With Jake Evans out, like that acquisition is so much more important. It
Very
looms so much
important.
larger. But also, Joe Veleno might be out for a bit here because, like, he very
Yeah.
likely got concussed on that hit. He did not look good after, and
Glassy
I know it's
eyes. Yeah.
yeah, it's not exactly like the most flashy thing in the world, but Joe Veleno's been good lately.
Hmm.
Like, I know he's not scoring a ton of goals or anything or setting up a lot of goals, but he's playing fourth line center and he's been good. Like on the defensive side of the puck, he's been very good. I've also enjoyed like tonight several times. There were moments where the Canadians got in trouble in their own zone, couldn't clear the puck, and it was Veleno who just took the puck, bore down, and skated it out.
Hmm.
And he's been doing that a lot. I've been enjoying his contributions outside of point production because they are important.
That's
And
not what you
losing
look
him and Evans in
for.
back-to-back games.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's what you're looking for out of a guy like Joe Veleno, and I don't think that's what you're looking for out of a guy like Jake Evans. So, sucks to it sucked to lose both of those guys because they're bringing stuff that you don't necessarily, everybody harps on face-offs, face-offs, face-offs. Personally, I think that, maybe it's a little bit of a over it's given more importance than maybe it should, face-offs. But I think one of the places where it really matters is the PK. The PK
Yes.
really, that, you don't have enough guys to sneak around. You need a little bit of help there. So I'm hoping Phil Deneau will help there. I just like I'm just glad that this acquisition was made. I'm sure Kent Hughes, Jeff Gorton, Marty St. Louis are very glad that this acquisition was made because uh it- Phil Deneau is going to bring a lot to this team. Again, I don't want to put a lot on his shoulders because he's no longer the guy that we saw last, right? Like that's just simply not the player he is. But you don't lose a brain like that, I think is the point. It's he might have slowed down. He might, not necessarily fit into the speed of this team, but the thing that he has is, what a guy like Nick Suzuki has, where the brain is big and juicy, and I think we
Yeah.
can use that. Um, yeah,
And honestly, the more I've dug into Deneau and this season that looks so bad, I'm not concerned about him.
That's
honestly. Like the strength of his play over the last several years is so consistent, and this year a lot of his like poor results seem to be more percentages driven than like performance
mm-hmm.
driven. So you put him in a situation where not only is he not counted on to be the guy in Montreal like he was when he was here last, he's still got some familiar guys around. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
probably going to put him with Brendan Gallagher, right? And I saw my buddy Olivier Bouchard, who used to be like the guy who tracked Canadian scoring chances before scoring chances were publicly available. He was like the only guy who had them. Uh, he mentioned that Thomas Tatar is having a great year this year over in Europe, and they should bring him back. And that can just be the third or fourth line instead of the first line. And like,
We're so back,
I'm
baby.
I'm interested. No, I don't want to bring Tatar back. They've got enough like different guys who can fill that role. But
Yeah.
I think that there's something there right away with how
Mm-hmm.
good Gallagher's been playing anyway. I would even put him with Gallagher like and Beck and just see what
Really?
happens there.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
like what do you imagine? Do you have any thoughts, Connor, on like what you imagine happening with guys maybe going back to Laval or coming up? I think we kind of covered this when we said that we think Sammy Blais is not here very long. I think Beck is
Yeah.
staying up over not that they're the same player, but in case, just talking in terms of, Phil Deneau seems to probably, according to reports, make his debut as a Canadian again in Boston. So if that happens, I think the roster stays mostly the same, except you replace Sammy Blais with Phil Deneau, which is a hell of a upgrade, I would say.
Unless Veleno's out, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. I forgot. What do you think they do if Elena's out?
I think they might have to bring somebody else up again because I mean, I don't know if you want to keep Blay out there a second game. Like, I don't know if I'm sure it'd be fine, but I don't think he distinguished himself that much. And he actually had a drawn call as well on top of an assist. So maybe I'm full of it, but his underlying numbers were pretty terrible.
Yeah.
He kind of tanked the Beck line tonight, who had
Yeah.
a phenomenal night last night.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Owen Beck has really impressed me in the last little while. Do you think they'd bring up
His terrible penalty in the third, notwithstanding, that was
Yeah,
brutal.
I was gonna say 3-3 in the third period, and I was like, oh my
Oh,
God.
brother.
And then
Turnover
he
behind the
turned,
net.
yeah, turnover behind the net. I was like, I would just love to see, like, because like you brought it up, Andrew. Like, I don't know if this would be a line, but him, Gallagher, and Deneau, it's just like the older guys watching the young guy go a little bit. It's like that sound on TikTok where they go, "Okay, ready, release the baby," and like it's just something takes off because Owen Beck, like his third first ever NHL goal was him streaking down the wing and just firing one. He had a
Yeah.
chance tonight as well. I think in the second or the third period, I don't remember. It was later in the game where like he just got stopped up by the defender in front of him as he tried to pull off the same thing as if because he was also on his offhand, so it was difficult for him to get the puck on net in that angle. But I'd just love to see like Gallagher having a hard pinch and getting the puck up the ice, and just Owen Beck coming out of nowhere, and them both yelling, "Go, Owen, go!" and just seeing him take down the ice. I think it's going to be impressive to see how much of the load is going to be carried by the top two lines. Obviously, like Nick Suzuki, like
Top
we've
line's
seen
gonna
him
have to
double
be
shift.
better
Like,
than they were
yeah,
today,
yeah.
but they were good yesterday. So hey,
Yeah, and I think once there is the reset, they will be okay. Like truly, like it just didn't. It seemed odd their performance. I think if anything, it just didn't seem like themselves. Like it seemed like something was amiss
Yeah.
more than it was them playing badly, if that makes sense. But to get back to the actual like question at hand, like I couldn't tell you what's gonna happen with Sammy Blay. I couldn't tell you what's gonna happen with whoever they also decide to bring up if they need to bring up another man. Um, but I just like again, like a lot of it is going to fall on the top two lines to really be providing some degree of offense and really good like underlying numbers defensively as well. Because like I know it's been pointed out, but this roster is depleted. It really is.
It really is.
It's not the team that we had imagined fully healthy at the start of the season, unfortunately. And I think that is just like every year we say the same thing, but this is truly like This is a bad.
They were
This is not what
Doc
we
is
pictured.
out,
Like
Newhook is
truly.
out, Laine's out. Like those are
yeah.
three just in themselves. That is a not a great line, but that could have been a line, right? Like it's
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Those are
like
definitely
people
guys
forget
that could
like
help you on the power play or something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
well, even like in terms of versatility of attack, people forget how friggin' good Alex Newhook has been this season.
Oh
Like
my
Yes.
he was
boy.
unreal before
Oh,
he got injured. That still breaks my
oh
heart,
my
honestly,
boy.
that
I
he
feel so
took
bad for
such a rough
him.
injury when with the breakout season that he was having. But then there's still Caden Gooley. Like
Yeah.
we talk about the PK being a bit of a struggle bus a lot. Without Caden Gooley, there it's a bit rougher of a situation. Like if the Canadians were fully healthy right now, and the PK had Jake Evans, Phil Deneau coming in, and Caden Gooley back there, we'd probably be a lot more
Alex
comfortable. And I think
Newhook.
that's like the thing.
He
Yeah,
was
Alex
failing
Newhook as
penalties
well.
really well too.
He was. You know, there's a lot of good things happening with this team, and I think they aren't getting enough credit for. They've been rough for like several weeks before this last couple of weeks,
Hmm.
but they've been rough while losing a huge percentage of their like core. You know,
Yeah.
like not the top guys, but their depth has been ripped apart.
I think
Mhm.
they also like, let's be very honest. I think that they really something that because he only played 5 games this season, I don't think people understand the impact of him being gone. But Caden Gooley brings something to this defense that is not otherwise present. I think, and I don't know what the numbers say, so I could be totally wrong. I know Mike Matheson has improved leaps and bounds defensively, but to me, that is the guy that you are more likely to just throw out there defensively rather than it frees up other guys to do the things they can do. It frees up a Lane Hudson. It frees up a Mike Matheson. Um, you know, I'm curious to see how he works with Dobson when he's back. But yeah, it's just this team because they aren't as big names that are out. Like one, I guess, name is Patrick Laine, but everybody knows the cons that are of that weaknesses of that player. Um, but yeah, I'm again, I have a really hard time getting too mad at this team. So we're going to move on to our overtime segment. So I just want to give people a heads up. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the chat. Anything you want us to talk about, we can do that. Guys, anything that I might have missed in our other segments, let me just move us on to our overtime first. This is me not doing this very well, and here we are, overtime. Not as good at the
Listen,
Habs played in overtime.
if we're grading on a scale, you're still ahead of me after last night. I know it wasn't technically me screwing it up,
It
but
was
having to
your
manage those
OBS. It
tech
was your
issues.
poor
Oh
OBS.
my gosh,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
wild.
yeah. Connor, anything I might have missed that you wanted to comment on from this game, or any observations, thoughts, feelings?
Yeah, I think one thing that was really talked about when we started the stream was just in the comment section was a lot of people were hopping on the shootout still.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I even like Texier pulling the one-handed shot that he was trying to do. I was like, look, it was really cool the first time. I like as soon as he did it, I was like, we're cycling this? Like you're the kid who does the Michigan during the first period and tries to pull it off in the second period, and somebody puts an elbow into his chin. Like, don't pull the same thing twice was sort of like
I mean,
my
it's worked for
takeaway.
him
A lot of people were
before.
talking.
It seems to be his
It
thing.
did, but I think it was a little predictable. And the goaltender was like, Silovs was there, and as he was tracking him, he's like, he's not going to do it again, is he? Oh, he did. He did. Okay, let me just put my paddle down and just make sure that it's dissuaded. But yeah, there was that. Nick Suzuki overthinking a bit more in the shootouts too.
Yeah.
Dobesh with the overcommit. At least Cole looked nice. Cole the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cole the something Caulfield looked really good to like in the shootout.
Oh, the
Well,
something
and
Caulfield.
Caulfield, if you've ever noticed, whenever he goes on one of these streaks where he is not scoring, when he gets a shootout attempt and it goes in, he usually starts scoring
Hell
again.
yeah,
So I'm
brother.
hoping
Yeah.
that's getting his confidence going because tonight he could have had 4 goals tonight.
Yeah.
On a good Caulfield game, he probably would have buried a few, but tonight the puck was fighting him back
Mm-hmm.
and it was not working.
No, no. Would you have put Nick Suzuki into the shootout? Because I love the guy. I think I would have put Demidov before Nick Suzuki. I understand the decision to make to give Texier the first dibs at it. I know, like Connor said, same move, but hey, it worked for Nick Suzuki for a little while, and he hasn't been Texier didn't do it as long as Nick Suzuki did and got away with it, right? So I understand that move. I don't agree with Marty putting Nick out there before he put Demidov. I don't understand why he would do that at this point. It, I feel like Nick's like in his head about this as well. I'm sure he has a mental list of, 15 in a row, baby. So,
Yeah, that's tough, right? And especially when you're always relied on and he's always in the top 3. I would give him some time off.
yeah,
Nick Suzuki can be your first choice in literally every single game situation,
it doesn't
but
make
he doesn't
sense.
have to be.
Yeah,
The Canadians have a bit of talent through the lineup now, so you can give him a rest,
yeah,
especially since a new center gets injured every single game, and I'm sure that stresses him out a little bit too because he knows he cannot get injured,
yeah.
and he's not going to get a break this time
No,
for the Olympic break. He's going to be on Team Canada,
yeah,
pretty much 100%.
yeah. I would bet a lot of money on that. Sorry, any questions you guys noticed in the chat?
Yeah, there was just a shootout. I feel like we could probably end it there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Oh, sorry, I did just really quickly just want to ask Vaguely Stats was asking and pointing out that we have 1.77 in cap space to call players up. So he says with adding to know, somebody's going to have to be moved off the roster to make sure everyone's fit once health has been restored to 100%. Yeah, I think frankly, can I be really pessimistic? I don't think they might necessarily be in the point where all of the missing pieces would be back and then something else not have gone wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Well, especially
absolutely.
this year.
Yeah.
The shortened Olympic schedule, every team is suffering.
Yeah.
The Canadians are not. I don't know if they're one of the hardest hit teams. They seem to be in terms of volume, yes,
hmm
volume of impact players, but almost every team has had some significant injuries this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It does complicate a little bit what they might be able to do at the trade deadline, but that's between Kent Hughes, his calculator, and God. Uh, none of my business.
Here's a fun little bit of trivia before we close it out. Last 17 games, Nick Suzuki, one of them included tonight, did not get a point. How many of those 17 games did Nick Suzuki not get a point?
Not the last
17 games.
17 games?
Yep.
Ooh. Maybe the
2.
last 5?
No, he has missed 3,
Wow.
including tonight.
Well,
3 of the last
we'll meet in
17.
the middle, Connor. We'll meet in the middle.
Hey, if it's Price is Right, I won.
I think it's not Price is Right rules. I think we'll go meet in the middle.
That's fair. Well, you know what? Actually, Andrew looks like Howie Mandel a bit, so we'll say it's deal or no deal, and we'll go that way.
Jeez, I'm just getting red for filth tonight.
I'm sorry.
Old and Howie Mandel. Although to Kay's credit, saying a billion years of shootouts for Nick Suzuki, I have watched hockey since before the shootout was there. So fair
No,
enough.
really?
Oh, that's true.
When did it start? When did the shootout start? Do you remember?
05-06 after the lockout.
Oh,
Mhm.
damn.
I
Okay.
watched the first ever NHL shootout. It was between Ottawa and I think Pittsburgh. I
Interesting.
think
Okay. All right.
might have been
Fun
Toronto. I think.
fact. Fun fact.
Well, then technically I have 2, but just haven't been conscious for a couple of those years, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not going to take any stolen valor there. I did not know. I was not there for that. Okay, folks, we are going to end our show tonight. Thank you again for stopping by. We love having you in the chat. Next show, I can't remember who it is, but somebody surely will be there. And yeah, folks, we will catch you later. And I know it's reaching that time of year where we're all starting to slack off. Especially I know folks who are working office shops, they're trying to fit a week's worth of work in like 2 days. So good luck with that if that's what you're doing. We love you very much. It's Sunday night, so I hope you have a nice rest of your week or nice week. And yeah, all of our socials are in the description, by the way, as they always are. And we all yap. So join us where we're yapping. All right, goodbye, folks.